In the city of Toronto, the subway system is the city's lifeblood, a seemingly anonymous network of tunnels connecting millions of lives every single day. We rely on it for convenience, for speed, and above all, for safety. But there was a time, in the heart of the 1970s, when that promise of safety was brutally broken, leaving a wound in the public consciousness that still resonates 5 decades later. This is the case of Mariam Peters, a 16-year-old girl whose life was cut short in the desolate heart of a downtown subway station in a murder that remains unsolved, but whose aftermath permanently changed the physical landscape and the safety protocols of the entire Toronto Transit Commission. This is the story of a Friday evening commute that ended in a tragic crime, and the indelible mark it left on a city. As always, my name is Cody. I run this channel with my partner Katie. Welcome or welcome back to the Case Files. A reminder, if you do find today's video interesting and informative, be sure to like and subscribe for more stories told by yours truly. Now, grab a snack and a blanket, and let's dive in. To understand the depth of this tragedy, you must first understand the life of Mariam Peters. Mariam was born in 1958 or 1959. She was the eldest of 3 children, a grade 11 student at A.Y. Jackson Secondary School in North York with a bright, promising future. Her family, the Peters family, carried a history heavier than most. Mariam's parents, Max and Merle Peters, were Holocaust survivors. Their existence in Toronto, their successful, safe, suburban life, was a testament to survival and the creation of a future that had once been denied to them. For them, the security of Canada, of Toronto, was an unbreakable promise. Mariam was more than just a daughter and student. She was connected. She was acquainted with the daughters of G. Gordon Hurlburt, who, at the time of the murder, was the chairman of the Toronto Transit Commission. This connection, though minor, would later give the family's tragic petition for change an immediate and powerful audience. The evening of Friday, November 7, 1975, began like any other Friday. Mariam and her boyfriend were planning to visit her sick grandfather at Mount Sinai Hospital. But when the boyfriend canceled due to a cold, Mariam decided to go alone. At approximately 6:30 p.m., her mother, Merle, dropped her off at Finch Station for the southbound commute. It was a brief goodbye, the last time Merle Peters would see her daughter healthy and alive. Mariam was heading toward downtown and toward a moment of terrible, unexpected violence. Mariam completed her visit to the hospital. Everything was normal. She then made her way back to the subway, descending into the tunnels beneath the city, at St. Patrick's Station on the Yonge University line. This was 1975. The stations were often quiet, desolate, especially in the evening hours. The Toronto subway system, for all its convenience, relied heavily on the presumption of safety rather than active surveillance or policing. The precise timeline is chillingly brief. At approximately 8:20 p.m., just over an hour and a half after leaving her mother, Mariam was discovered by 2 off-duty nurses who were on their way to work. They found her at the top of one of the station's long escalators in a scene of terrible, shocking violence. Mariam had been viciously stabbed 16 times. The unknown assailant had attacked her on the escalator, a confined, isolated space, and immediately fled the murder scene into the shadows of the deserted station. Mariam was rushed to Toronto General Hospital, critically wounded, fighting for her life against catastrophic injuries. The news of the attack sent an immediate shockwave through Toronto. The image of a vulnerable teenage girl ambushed in a public space shattered the city's complacent view of its transit safety. Mariam fought bravely in the hospital for 4 days, but on November 11th, she succumbed to her injuries, the official cause of death being a brain hemorrhage caused by the severity of the stab wounds. The case instantly became a priority one for the Toronto Police Service. A 16-year-old girl murdered in a major subway station by an unknown attacker. The public demanded answers. The investigation uncovered a terrifying link, a person of interest connected to another attack that occurred just 10 minutes after Mariam was found. 10 minutes later, less than a mile away, near Simcoe and Wellington Streets, another woman was stabbed in a parking lot. She managed to escape her assailant, providing investigators with a crucial description of the attacker. The description linked the same person to both attacks. This suggested a killer operating with reckless, terrifying speed, a random predator moving through the downtown core. The police offered a substantial $10,000 reward for information leading to an arrest. But despite the person of interest, despite the reward, and despite the horrific nature of the crime, investigators hit a wall. As police later stated, they could not make an arrest in either case due to the lack of direct evidence. The killer had slipped away. The case of Mariam Peters went cold. A raw, open wound of injustice in the city's history. The emotional impact of Mariam's murder was immense. 1,500 people, including members of the public and community leaders, attended her funeral at the Pride of Israel Temple. But the Peters family, in the midst of their grief, became activists. They transformed their tragedy into a demand for systemic change. They would not let their daughter's death be in vain. Their focus was the Toronto Transit Commission, the TTC. Immediately following the murder, the TTC took the unprecedented step of deploying permanent patrols of uniformed police to the subway line for the very first time. Before this, transit safety was largely reliant on station attendants and the random presence of police. Now, it was mandated. But the Peters family wanted more. They petitioned the TTC to install closed-circuit television, or CCTV, in the most deserted areas of the subway stations. They saw it as the necessary technological shield against hidden attackers. The response from the TTC and the Toronto police was frustratingly bureaucratic. They conducted a joint study and ultimately rejected the CCTV proposition, citing the high cost of installation and the necessary expense of hiring additional employees to monitor the cameras. Instead, the TTC opted for a series of lower-cost preventative measures. They installed passenger-activated alarm systems in subway cars, giving riders a direct, immediate link to the driver and guard. They also began testing mirrors to give drivers and guards better visibility into the car interiors. These were reactive changes, but the most enduring legacy of Mariam's murder was the way it altered the physical architecture of the subway itself. The police audit following the murder concluded that the subway design itself was complicit. Long, isolated passageways, unused storage rooms, and hidden stairwells created ideal ambush points for predators. The solution was brutal and absolute. The TTC began sealing off these potential hiding places for lawbreakers. The exact site of Mariam's murder at St. Patrick's Station, along with a similar passageway at Queen's Park Station, were permanently sealed off. They were converted to storage rooms or simply eliminated from public access. Following a subsequent police audit in 1982, a similar passageway was sealed off at Museum Station. Here, they used metal bars instead of solid walls to maintain necessary ventilation, creating a haunting, cage-like appearance in that section of the station, a visual scar of the danger that once lurked. These changes, the alarms, the police patrols, the physical sealing of passageways at St. Patrick, Queen's Park, and Museum are the invisible monuments to Mariam Peters. Every time a Toronto commuter rides past that sealed wall or hears the warning chime of an activated alarm, they are witnessing the direct, tragic legacy of her final commute. Mariam Peters died an innocent victim at the age of 16 on a deserted escalator, fighting for her life. Her case remains one of the most significant unsolved murders in Canadian history, a case that highlights the high price of urban safety and the painful reality that sometimes it takes the ultimate tragedy to force a city to protect its own. Her killer walked away, But the changes Mariam's death inspired ensured that the TTC would never look the same. Hey there! Before you take off, we'd just like to take a second and say that we really appreciate you sticking around to the end of the video. Katie and I are so grateful for the incredible Case Files community, so thank you for being a part of it. If you want to help the Case Files continue to grow, one of the easiest things you can do is leave a like on this video and consider subscribing. Be sure to hit that notification bell as well and select all notifications to stay up to date with our latest releases. We want you to know that we truly appreciate every like, sub, share, and comment that you send our way. Once again, thanks so much, and we hope to see you soon.